We got supervisor, we got 3 citizens, either on Zoom or in person.
On there. Okay. All right, good.
And yeah, you have a quorum.
All right. I'd like to call the meeting of the East Lampeter Township Emergency Services Committee in order, with date and time.
Hello and welcome to the East Lampeter Township public meeting. All participants are now informed that this meeting is being recorded. Due to the COVID-19 virus and Governor Wolf's orders limiting indoor gatherings, in-person attendance for this meeting is being limited to a maximum of 25 people who will be observing social distancing. Additionally, based upon the order of the Secretary of Health regarding face coverings, all participants in the public meeting room are required to wear a face covering unless they fit into one of the order's exceptions. When speaking, while maintaining social distance, participants may remove their face covering. Therefore, this meeting is also being offered virtually utilizing Zoom, which is a cloud-based platform for remote video and audio conferencing. The Zoom application is free to the public. The general public is therefore able to join the meeting by connection through the internet or by calling in by phone. The public is also able to observe the meeting on the Township's YouTube channel. The Township is expecting to utilize this vehicle for all future public meetings during and after the COVID-19 crisis. Please continue to check the Township website calendar for any updates related to these public meetings. Agendas for these public meetings will also be available on the Township's website and will be posted on the front of the Township building. The Township will also be recording the meeting and making it available for viewing via the Township website and YouTube channel. While every effort will be made to ensure the live streaming and website are working, East Lampeter Township takes no responsibility for and cannot be held liable for the unavailability of live streaming in part or in full due to technical issues beyond its control. Live streams and recordings of all meetings remain the property of East Lampeter Township and are protected by copyright. Access to live streams and recordings of meetings is provided for personal and non-commercial use. Video, images, and audio must not be altered, reproduced, or republished without permission of East Lampeter Township. It is suggested that all participants on Zoom mute their microphone during the meeting until they wish to speak, make a motion, or vote. All votes will be taken by roll call so that they can be properly recorded. In order to accommodate public comments at this meeting, the Township will be accepting public comments in writing or via email. Instructions for the submission of public comments are available on the Township website. All those providing public comments will be required to provide their name and address in order for their comments to be read into the record. Inappropriate comments will not be read into the record. Please be reminded that this meeting is being video and audio recorded and will be posted to the Township's YouTube channel for viewing. The meeting will now proceed with the chairman calling the meeting to order and identifying all other members present in the meeting room and those joining the meeting via Zoom. The chairman will then confirm those members joining by Zoom can be heard.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We should at least confirm that everybody can be heard.
Can everyone hear me? Okay, let's start over here with Jeff and
Jeff Hatfield, Eric Sherman, 18. John Flowers, Ralph Hutchison, Claire Curry. Melanie, can you hear me?
I can hear you now. I couldn't just a minute ago or a second ago.
you can hear me? Melanie, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. John Boyer,
Yes.
Susie Sutton, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, very good. I'll drop my mask. At this time, I would like to ask for approval of minutes in January 21st regular meeting.
Did notice a typo on there. It's a 2021, not 2020. So just want to correct it. It's my own error there.
Yeah, good, I see.
Are there any additions or corrections that anyone would like to address? Okay. No motion to approve.
Second. I'll second.
Old business. We'll start with the report of fire apparatus.
And did you want to take a vote on the minutes?
Oh,
You got the first and the second. and
All in favor of approval of the minutes?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Yeah, thank you. Keep me straight.
Gotcha.
That was Claire Graham second that, or Paul Fisher?
Oh, it was me.
Oh, that was John.
Yeah,
Brown.
both, thanks,
He
Steve.
did it first.
Hi,
He did it
Claire.
first.
Yeah, I'm a little rusty. I haven't done this for quite a while.
We'll keep you oiled.
We're trying to help.
We'll oil you every once in a while.
Yeah, all right.
You're doing good.
Okay, so we'll start with the apparatus replacement committee. Lafayette?
Okay, I sent out the photos of the progress of the current engine. That's, everybody should have saw those. That's 2 weeks worth of progress and it's moving right along. So a little exciting to see some orange color there. Wasn't expecting to be painted so soon, but it is. As far as the funding goes for the apparatus, we've received the invoice for the township's portion, and Hutch is taking care of that. That'll be run through the supervisors at the mid-April meeting, and the invoice isn't due until the mid-May. As far as the state loan goes for the balance of the funding, we were under review this week, had a lot of paperwork and questions being asked, and we go to the approval board next week. We go to the approval board. So we're hopeful there. I don't think there'll be any issues though.
Okay, very good. Thank you. All right, Paul, bird in hand.
I don't have a whole lot of an update at this point. We're going to be working through that. It's a process here at the fire company. I would expect probably, we're already at the end of the first quarter. It's probably going to be a third quarter thing before we have a whole lot to come back with. Except we're in the process of working.
Any other old business? All right, then we'll move on to new business. This month,
Right, according to the calendar, fire company should be submitting to us the information about the 2020 awards. And if there are any members that reach the 25 years of service threshold. We never did do the presentation of the 19 awards because of COVID. So we're still trying to figure out exactly how we're going to do this, but we'd like to get the information in so we can at least prepare the awards. Right, I have received some of them. Need to get the rest in. The obligation, according to the calendar, is that the township prepares the summary by the beginning of April. So we'd like to have that information in so we can get that done.
hey, we have a draft of the emergency operations plan that has been shared, I think, with most of the group. Is that correct? And are you prepared?
Been shared with everybody.
Has been, yes, it has been completed by the deputy coordinator, myself, and Hutch. We had several meetings on it. I send it out to the members of the Emergency Services Committee, as I stated earlier. We did not receive any feedback as to the plan itself, but anything in there that needed to be fixed and so forth. Mr. Martin, I did answer his questions and concerning the plan. In the plan, we will have the emergency operations plan, and we'll have the notification and resource in there as known as the norm. And we'll also have the EOP functional list, which is an emergency operation plan, the functional checklist for those who are involved in the command center and out in the field as well. So we do have the book here, and I will give this to Hutch. This is what the book will look like. And what we need is we'll have the Board of Supervisors then take a look at it and then approve our EOP plan, which I think is a very good plan. We looked at several plans, and a township that is about this same size and so forth, the plan will fit us perfectly. I think Hutch, did you want to touch base on anything in regards to the plan as well?
This is the first time in a long time, I have to say, that we've had the emergency operations plan updated, if you will. And the update is really a new document. So I appreciate it being circulated around to the committee. I didn't know if the committee would want to, take some time with it and make a recommendation to the Board of Supervisors, maybe at your next meeting, if you wanted to take some time to do further review or have comment of any sort.
Now that we've made corrections and additions and changes to it, or is it still basically the same?
We had fine-tuned the plan, and
Would it be
it's-
appropriate to send it back to the committee and ask for, when do you plan to present it to the supervisor?
Didn't really have a specific schedule to it, but I think it would be helpful to the supervisors to have a recommendation from this group. So, it can certainly wait until your next meeting if that's what you want to do.
That,
Is there any further review that needs to be done? I mean, I personally, I reviewed it thoroughly and I'm satisfied with it. Is there anyone else in here that did not review it? Does anybody have any recommendations to change?
were there any significant recommendations that would have changed? Any
No,
of the
no,
content?
Mr. Chairman, no. Everything was, I sent out another reminder in regards to the review date, ending date, and I have not received anything.
If the committee feels that we're prepared to act on it at this point, then we can probably do that so that we can move it forward. So,
I just have one question. The plan can be updated at any time, is that correct? So if in 2 months from now, we decide, hey, we want to change something, we can?
Correct.
Okay.
Is that approval of the Board of Supervisors?
So this was just a major review, long overdue.
Yes.
Okay, given that, I'd like to make a motion that we adopt the emergency operations plan for the township.
okay, we have a motion. Any discussion?
Just to clarify, you'd actually be recommending adoption. The Board of Supervisors has the authority to actually adopt.
Okay, I'm recommending that the Emergency Services Committee recommend to the supervisors that we adopt the plan. There you go.
Okay, is there a second? Second, Claire. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Jim? Jim,
Yes, can you hear me?
we barely. You're going in and out a lot. Normally, as soon as Hutch talks, everything opens up again.
Okay, I'll talk and.
All right.
There.
Hey, how about,
Hopefully
Donnie,
that,
did you hear us, Don?
I'm a yay, and as soon as Hutch talked, we could hear you again.
Something interesting. How about now?
Yes.
Okay. You can hear us. So I apparently have a bad. That's it. All right. Don, did you hear the discussion? And the motion?
Yes, I'm good with it.
You agree? Yes.
Yes.
Don's actually an alternate,
Oh,
so
he's
he
an
wouldn't be voting tonight. Paul's here to vote. Susie's a guest. It's just Melanie, who's on the Zoom.
Very good. So all in the room,
Aye.
opposed? Okay, so moved. All right. Then we'll call the township fire companies. We'll start with.
Okay, the only thing I had to add is to get an update on our duty vehicle. It is being shipped via rail. So we should be seeing that probably about 3 to 4 weeks.
Fine. Ronks?
I have two things tonight. First off, and I'm not sure, maybe Hutch has this too, but the bridge on South Runks Road is going to be closed starting April 1st for approximately, I'm going to say 6 to 7 months. So the only way you're going to get to Strasburg is 896 for most of us. We can take Bachmantown Road is still open, but right now the main signage is going to be from Runks Road to 896 down to Her Road and proceed into Strasburg again on South Runks Road that way. So it's you might as well just go right into Strasburg. I do have maps here I can show everyone for the other chiefs. It's still narrow roads. It doesn't matter how you work it. So, but that's going to start April 1st. And I did talk to the construction people and that's confirmed and it's going to be, they told me it's a go. I guess the only question I have is with that, are they going to be doing anything to the banks down there where the township just spent all the money?
Yeah, we had that same question. They've assured us that they've coordinated it, so they won't be disturbing anything that's been done.
Okay, the one area we have is a fill site down there is about where the old covered bridge used to be. We did put markings on the guardrail down around 70 South Sattersburg Road for fill sites now, because that's one of our main areas down there. So we put some temporary reflective tape up just to mark it for now. But I'm concerned that the one near the bridge will not be able to be used. So
Depends on how they stage things.
so they did say I could go down and talk to the people and make any suggestions. I'm not sure where that'll go, but it's close enough. We can keep an eye on it. But the fill site standard will change a little bit, I'm sure, while this is being worked on. And the only other thing, we are preliminarily starting to look at additional battery operated rescue tools. We have some, it's in the early stages. Again, the battery tools, of course, are the quicker to put into service, but for long run type of situations, we still have the tools to do that. So we're going to start looking. If we do come up with anything, and it would probably be over the major purchase price, we'd bring it back here anyway for everyone's, approval. But that's going to be starting. So that's everything.
Okay. Steve? Okay.
There's a rescue tools, right? Okay, Lafayette, chicken barbecue's coming up here April the 10th. It's to be determined if this is going to be our only one this year. We're in discussion about whether we should have the fall chicken barbecue or not. So come get it now in April. Recruitment retention. We have started a recruitment retention committee this year. Jason's heading that up as the president, and trying to come up with new ideas or different ideas, think outside the box, whatever it may take to try and bolster our force. I know I reported at the supervisors meeting when I gave the 2020 end of year report, and our average is 9 firefighters per call, and that's pretty much unchanged for the past several years. But I'll tell you, in the daytime, we really struggle. Sometimes in the daytime, it's like a pickup baseball team. Sometimes you get 2, sometimes you get 5, sometimes more, but usually it's on the lower numbers in the daytime, and when a person picks up the phone and calls 911, I mean, they want somebody there probably faster than you can imagine. They want somebody there. So we're doing our best. Some of the higher risk incidents, something new for us here is we've actually, Whitmer 62, Station 62 in Lafayette have begun to cooperate a little more. We've merged some of our box alarms, and the higher risk incidents in the township, both fire companies are going to be running those incidents to try and give us some manpower, extra needs in the daytime. It's kind of tough just to do it in the daytime because we just looked at 24 hours. Let's just do it 24 hours. Because if you say, let's do it from 6 to 6, you could have an incident at 5:45 in the morning and you need help and you're not covered. So we're doing it 24/7, basically the higher risk. So like class 1 vehicle accidents, car fires, not automatic alarms, not your run of the mill thing. But yeah, we're starting to work a little bit closer. You might have saw on social media posts that we talked about, what can we do to not per se merge, but what can we do to help each other? So you saw a group of the Lafayette volunteers over helping with Whitmer's Oxford race because they were short of people. They asked us if we could help. We sent 7, 8, 9, if not 10 guys there that day, and 9, okay. And in return, they're going to help us with our chicken barbecue if they can, if we need help, that kind of thing. So what we're looking is just having a closer relationship between us. With that said, we've also joined up in some of our officers' meetings, and that'll lead into Greg has a question there that was brought up at the officers' meeting when it comes to running together like this. So that's pretty much all I have for Lafayette, just between the recruitment retention, thinking outside the box, the community outreach. Susie Sutton, she's on Zoom. She's doing a great job as far as getting out in the community and, just trying to pull people in and getting different people involved. And we're seeing some excellent movement there, not just on the firefighter side. I mean, yes, we need firefighters, but from the perspective of administration, Jason's recruitment and retention committee, it's not all firefighters. There's community members on that. So, good stuff happening.
Good.
So Greg, if you want to lead into your question that came up at officers.
All right. First of all, I did forget one other thing under Whitmer's is April 24th is our Oxford's coming up. But in like with what Dave was just saying, we have been kind of Lafayette happened to come over to Whitmer one night for our line officers meeting. And it was just the line officers having good discussions about different things. And one question that was brought up, which I wanted to bring up and discuss in here to see, is if one of Lafayette's guys would be over in our first due and we got a call, how does that work if they would jump on a rig and run with us? I mean, I know under the township, we're all under the same insurance, but is that still going to cover them? With them being a Lafayette member running a call out of Whitmer Apparatus?
I don't see why it wouldn't, Greg. As long as the fire company that's running the call is authorizing that person to run the call as well, they should be covered.
I know that's been kind of discussed a little bit in the past amongst, different people as we've gone into different ranks and stuff, but to where if I was down in Ronks and Ronks got one, or Ferdinand or vice versa intermixed, that was always been kind of like a gray area because we weren't sure. So that's why we're bringing
there's
it up
always-
now to try to get clarification.
There's always the mutual aid, but maybe it would be,
Jim, I think we're all dealing with Longley Insurance. Am I correct?
yeah, Longley.
I have no problem calling them and talking to them. And
This is really a workers' comp question, right?
it's workers' comp, but we also have our own additional workers' comp insurance. And if there's something that the townships wouldn't cover, the fire companies picks up on some of this.
Steve, I think. About this thing, I don't know whether we ever had good resolution or not.
We did talk about it years ago, and the biggest concern then was we did not want people running from one end of the township to the other end of the township. And that was a concern back then. I don't think you'd be able even to do that right now with all the traffic and everything else that's out there. So this I believe was more if there was a group of people at Whitmer and there was some guys from Lafayette there, and that they would be able to go and run the call. I think a lot of it depends on each fire company on how they feel about it, because they have to be okay with it too. But I think that I can talk to Bob Longley, no problem, and see what, posed a couple questions, and possibly they would pose some questions back to us, that at least we all would be on the same page with everything.
All right, would you mind taking that action and come back, discuss it with
Yeah, and basically to kind of go along with that, it's just the fact that, I live in Lafayette first. There's been times where daytime they've got hit.
Yeah.
And I've drove over there just to make sure they have that crew. There's been times I've rode on their apparatus with the bench,
Mm-hmm.
and it's been vice versa. We've had some of their officers coming by our station, coming home from work. We've gotten a call. It's been that gray area. Should I do this or not? They don't want to do it, and then something happens. And now we got a whole mess of trouble here.
Yeah, I do know that some of the fire companies have people that respond to, or are members of, like I think we have some of our hands members. And, there is a crossover of membership. So that doesn't create a problem.
They were actually members of Lafayette there when they did that. So what we're talking about here is, I'm not saying that, we're not looking at somebody, I'm going to call it jumping a call at Whitmer, who's a member of Lafayette without being a member. What we're looking at is the guys who work in New Holland are on their way home from work, and they're in Whitmer's area, close to the sheets, let's say, and a call comes in. Can they just make a right-hand turn and help out?
And help out,
Okay.
yeah.
We're not looking to do the call jump.
Sure, okay, sure. Steve, talk with Longley's and then get back to us. Okay, thanks. All right. All
Just
right.
one other item with that, the 4 township chiefs did have a chiefs meeting. We're going to try and meet twice a year. at a minimum here. So for the first half of the year, we had a chiefs meeting, just nothing exciting, I don't think, to report, just talked operationally and about training, and there's been some changes in leadership, that kind of thing. So we
Mhm.
talked about the staff, and that's
Good.
And this was one of the same topics that came up in that meeting also. So,
All right, very good. Thank you. All right, Birmingham. Paul?
Yes, so we're kicking off our fundraising again this year. Had a pot pie a few weeks ago, and that was successful. I think the biggest problem we had was getting traffic off of 340 and through our line, if any of you were on 340 that day. So we're looking at how we can improve that for next year, but it was a successful dinner. And I think we actually sold a record amount of pot pie this year. Talking about possibility of the next time, maybe you're starting to run them off of Enterprise Drive, the other end of Enterprise Drive, so if we get a backup, that would spill back out on the 340 as quickly. So we're looking at some options there. We're also planning for hopefully being able to do our auction in June. Just started the planning for that, and just this week we opened a registration for a half marathon in the fall. Hoping to get as back to normal as we can here. We got a couple hundred runners signed up already, so it feels like there's maybe some pent up demand there, hopefully. So
Good, Paul.
so we're trying to get back in the groove. We're hoping to, I don't know what kind of grants will be available this year, but we'd like to get back out there and start engaging with the community again and doing as much of that as we can. On the firefighting side, another thing we've been doing here the last couple years, I think I've talked about it a little bit before, but we're trying to make a real push there again to try to engage more with the community, get more people active. We're all dealing with the same issues, trying to get people out. And we did kick off a new training program last year that we think is going to do a little better for us, a little more structured. We have more people involved in our fire company teaching the classes. And so we feel like it's starting to engage the community a little more there in our firefighters. And then this year, just in January, we kicked off a new driver training program, which is the first time we've done that. We kicked that off with the idea of being able to get members, existing members, but more importantly, hopefully some new members, with the idea being that within 6 months' time, they'd be able to be up and running on a couple of squads, and within a year, have them up and running on both on our larger pieces, our engine and tanker. We had like 19 people, I think, show up for the first one, 7 of which were new drivers, potentially new drivers. So we're kind of excited about that. Don't know if it's too early to tell how many of them will make it through the washout period and all that. But so we are trying to do what we can there to get that up and running. And then hopefully that's going to spill on over into recruitment retention, which is another part we're hoping to try to implement either later this year or next year. And we're also been experimenting with some duty crew types of things to try to at least ensure that we have at least a minimal crew gets out. I think we've been doing fairly well, but again, there's room there for improvement, and we don't want to take it for granted. It is getting tougher all the time to get people out, like these guys talk about, especially during the day. So we're experimenting with different ideas there on what we can do to ensure that we have at least a minimal crew come out with at the same time without burning out people that are being on call all the time. So I don't know how that's all going to pan out, but we're trying. So anyway, just wanted to let everybody know that we are working on that. If anybody has any ideas or suggestions or things that have worked for you guys, or things that you see are working or seem to be working, or things we're missing, why please bring it to our attention.
Yes, we submitted our reports for February in regards to our involvement. Deputy Fawcett, Brett, and I continue to respond on calls and so forth, just with the fire department on major incidents and so forth. We also advised people and also got notified fire departments in regards to the COVID-19 vaccine, as we discussed in our January meeting. The information that I received, I put out. UPMC had a vaccine clinic. We still have their vaccine clinic, so forth. I gave the web address for everybody to sign up, and you still continue to sign up at that website. I also posted it on our website, our Emergency Management Township website, as well for the general public. So we continue to monitor that. Other than that, nothing else. Just ask the fire companies if you have anything for Brett and I need to assist with in that, on other issues and that stuff. Please let us know. We'd be gladly to come to one of your meetings as well, and assist you whatever we can do. That's what we're here for.
Citizens, Claire, we'll start with you. Okay. Melanie?
Nothing.
Nope, I have nothing to add.
Just a couple quick things. If there are any updates to driver's lists or vehicle lists for the fuel card system, anybody needs a new card or anything, please let me know. Any, spill control reports for MS4 purposes, if you've got any of those, we can get on record for MS4 purposes, that would be helpful. Steve went over the bridge project down on South Bronx. There are a couple other PennDOT projects that are pending. As Steve's aware of this one as well, there's I guess they call it a bridge or a culvert over a tributary to the Peckway Creek on Lincoln Highway that's going to be done next year. We believe PennDOT's planning to resurface Horseshoe Road later this year. There's a chance that would go into next year, but we think it's going to be this year. Which bridge? No. My understanding is that that bridge is on their list of projects, but they're not. We suggested they coordinate them, but they're not going to do that. The bridge is going to come in a couple of years. Township projects, we did, I should say the board did award a paving contract for this year. So basically all the streets in the Willow Acres development are going to be resurfaced this year. And most of the streets up in what we call the Zook's Corner area above New Holland Pike there, they're going to get resurfaced as well. When that's happening, we'll let everybody know so that that can be known that there's construction going on during that period of time. We're still waiting to have water supply issues resolved at the Devons Creek development, so there isn't much happening up there. We don't have anything to report on the property at the southeast corner of Lincoln Highway and Oakview Road. Nothing planned at this point that we know of. I believe we got all the workers' comp insurance certificates out to everybody. We finally got new ones from Swift, so everybody got those for your records. And just to emphasize what Jeff was saying, we'd encourage everybody to encourage their members to get registered for getting the vaccine as quick as they can. That's about all I had. That's a good point. The owner of the former Perkins property, which is, well, does everybody know what I'm talking about? They did pull a permit to demolish that structure. So we expect that to happen later this month. We don't have any plans for new development, but we assume that that's going to lead towards some new project there. We have not seen, we've been expecting to see a concept plan for the redevelopment of the Rockville Square property. We've not seen that yet.
I have a question with fire companies. I heard that there was a forest fire grant that was being looked at.
We've gotten it twice. It's a 50/50 grant. Got to show your need and what equipment you have and your purposes. We will not be eligible now for another 5 years. We were able to get in on the last year's. We were told that we weren't accepted on it. And then other fire companies did not have the monies put aside to make the purchases, or they had their training classes canceled. So we were able to get in on that. And in fact, just this last month, I got the money from the state. So yeah, there's certain things you can buy. They have limitations. The emphasis is more on, I'm going to say, the more wooded areas. The forest fire companies up in the, I'm going to call it the northern end of the state, I know have a lot of them have applied, but it's there. And if you need something and it pertains in that, the list of equipment or training, I'd suggest to go for it. Yes.
Okay. All right. Before I ask for public comments, after the last meeting, I had several people ask, and they were newer members of the committee, asked about what the mission of the committee was. So I, for the new members, refresh our minds. I thought it would be worth just briefly talking about that. We'll hand out the mission statement, and we don't have to discuss it, but to revisit our purpose. Foster communication between fire companies, foster communication between townships and fire companies. One of the points. Develop a equipment process. Screening processes for funding, promote volunteer fire service, by the structure for the resolution. Jim, I just got on the chat from Tim. He says he can't hear you. Tim. You hear me now, Tim?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
We couldn't hear you before, though.
You couldn't hold it up. Okay, I'll hold it up then. I'm sorry. All right, what I did was just kind of briefly review the adoption of the mission for this committee, because we had some questions after the last meeting from some of the new folks that are sitting on the committee. And we were established by Township Resolution 15 in 2004. And our purpose is to foster communications between the different fire companies in the township and between the township and those fire companies. To develop an equipment review and purchasing process, which we do pretty well. That's a screening process for funding. Promote volunteer fire service, and to provide a structure for the preservation of the emergency services structure within the township. we have a copy of the mission statement and the resolution available. Hutch, mail it to anyone who would like to have it so that they have it for that. So that come back. Understand what we're supposed to. Support.
Appreciate it. Thank you for doing, if I can just comment follow up. 2012, guys, 2012, we did a full review. Is that what we did? It's been that long? We did a full review. We did 12.
We finished it in 2015.
We really did that in 12. Holy cow. So Matt Bona was involved at that point, and Matt had done just a brief financial analysis, trying to do a comparison and a return on investment. And I think Matt came up with just shy of about $900,000 a year would take to maintain. Dave Keen's helped me out here. I think 4 individuals available in any 8-hour shift or something. Give us a number. And said, you know, if we had to maintain and pay people to do it, then we look at annually less than $900,000 a year. I have all that something. So, you know, we decided we wanted to do a strategic analysis, just kind of get everybody's buy-in, you know, and it took us some time to start doing it. I think all the same reasons ended up with the same thing as commitment. Yes, we're going to increase perhaps maybe the township would give fire apparatus replacement program. We changed the insurance. We did some additional things. And everybody in the state was at that point. Paul was here, Claire was here, Steve was here, Dave was here. Everybody, you know, really stayed together, recommitted to the same mission. But then it still says that mission, as long as we can, that's going to have to come from you guys telling us that it's not all.
Excuse me.
Yep, can you hear me, Melanie?
You faded out again.
Okay, yep. And so Paul, you know, giving us an update on what's happening in 19 individuals training for what, you know, driver classes, and Dave, you guys talking about partnering on some things and working together, all just continues to show the Board of Supervisors who obviously, you know, are elected to represent the taxpayers, showing us that you're all still committed to making this work and you're getting creative. And that's great. That's what it takes, you know. So I served for a number of years on this committee, then took a couple of years off, and then Corey Meyer served on the committee, and now I'm back. So it's great to hear that. And I think that is the only way that we're going to be able to maintain majority, you know, volunteer fire services, you know, financing coming from you guys and the efforts, and of course all the staffing. So the only way we can do it is if you're leaning in. But one thing I would say, Jim, is don't wait to tell the elective body that maybe it's not working or you're seeing some issues. Don't wait, you know, and I say that to the leadership, you know, on each of the companies. You can almost sit back sometimes and think, well, it'll get better. Let's not say anything. Let's just keep trying harder. And you realize you get going down a slippery slope, and uh-oh, it's too late. We should have said something before, you know. So that's what this committee can do. Okay. So thank you all very much. Appreciate that, Jim.
At this time, I'd entertain any public comments. Okay. Anyone on Zoom? Public comments? Anyone? If not,
So moved.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Bye.
Thank you.